Join me in welcoming our lady speaker, please, Miss Trang.
I'm going to share with you something that is a little bit different than what the previous two doctors have already shared with you, because I'm working on the Green Monday campaign for Vietnam. So I will share with you what's going on in Vietnam right now regarding plant-based diet and all of the challenges and the difficulties that we are facing and how we are getting over that, so that we can share ideas with the other countries who I'm sure is also working on other Meatless Monday or Green Monday campaign. So the first thing I want to talk about is, of course, health, because the Vietnamese people, or basically anyone, cares about their own health. According to a report by the WHO in 2011, only 1% of Vietnamese had diabetes, and this was recorded in 1990. 20 years later, in 2010, the number increased to 200%. Especially within the people from the age of 55 to 64. That's one thing about diabetes. The next thing is about obesity, as we've listened and discussed about that a bit already. Never before I've seen so many obese children everywhere, across the whole country, but mostly in big cities like Ho Chi Minh City, where I come from, and in Hanoi. 50% of 11-year-old boys are either obese or overweight, and the percentage for 11-year-old girl is 27%. So it's really crazy if you think of this number. It's just like from two boys, there's one boy that is either obese or overweight. And then after obesity, the next chronic disease that Vietnamese have a lot is cancer. So from a statistic by the Cancer Prevention and Research Institute of Vietnam, there is around 150,000 to 200,000 cases of cancer being recorded every year in Vietnam. And from this number, there is an insane amount of 75,000 people die as a result of various types of cancer. So if I look back at my grandparents' age, at my parents' age, none of these diseases happened to them, because there is a switch in the way that young people, like not me, but my friends, for example, are eating now compared with 40 years ago. The nutritional transition, as I like to call it, makes Vietnamese people move towards eating more and more animal products and processed food, rather than to eat a traditional Vietnamese meal which consists of a lot of vegetables and legumes and whole grains. And because of all of these changes in the way that we eat, it makes us sick, and it brings all of these diseases to us. So this is where a plant-based diet comes into play, because just by switching to a plant-based diet, this reduces the risk of all of these chronic but preventable disease, and in some cases even reverse them. The second part that I want to mention is on the environment. Vietnam is actually one of the top 10 countries that will be severely affected by climate change, and I can already see that across the whole country during the months where there are flood and drought and all of the changes in the climate. In Vietnam, the Mekong Delta area is where they have a lot of fish farms for agriculture business. And these fish farms have damaged the area fragile ecosystem, because they are dumping all of the decay and decomposed waste and feces into the water without any proper waste treatment. And this does not just affect the life of the fishes in the area, the ecosystem, but also the life of Vietnamese people who live around the area, as now the sources of their water, their land, or the air around them is polluted. And next, the problem of sea level rising brings salinity into fresh water. So this threatens area in Mekong and Red River Delta, where we are doing a lot of agriculture businesses, growing crops and everything. And this leads to a decrease in species, in biospecies, and the area and the depth of the coastal mangrove area as well. So not a lot of people make the connection between eating plant-based to saving the environment, because people always think that the way to save the environment is to maybe take less shower or instead of driving a car, drive a bike. But not a lot of them know that factory farming is indeed the number one reason causing all of these problems of the environment that we are facing now. So by switching to a plant-based diet, you emit much less CHGs, and it requires much less resources, water, land, energy, to produce plant-based foods rather than the animal products that the majority of people are consuming. And the last small point that I want to talk about is poverty. Because even when Vietnam has grown incredibly over the past 40 years after the war, we still have 1/3 of the population being labeled as being poor or nearly poor, which consisted of more than 30 million people. Because there will never be enough resources to grow food for the animals to eat. And then we eat the animals to feed everyone in Vietnam. And this is not just a problem in Vietnam, I'm sure. This happens to any country, developing in the world. So for me, going plant-based is the easiest thing, and it's something that you can do right now, today, to really create a change.
Yeah, 60 seconds. 60 seconds more. Round up.
Correct. So what we are doing in Vietnam with the Green Monday campaign is to encourage people to eat vegan once a week. But eventually we want them to think about it more and more and eventually change their habit to a whole vegan diet. We are working with celebrities, schools, and restaurants to apply the campaign in various institutes. And even when the government and the media is still a little bit behind on the movement, but we are trying to involve different departments into the work too. So I do believe that in the future we will see some outcomes. Yeah, thank you.
The point I like to highlight is to be vegan is to help the fellow human, our friends, so that there are people still dying because of food shortage. By consuming meat, we are taking away the food that we can feed millions and millions of people. So be vegan to help feed the world. This is the message I like to sum up, and a big round of applause for be vegan to feed the world and to our Miss TrangDang. I like to start the discussion now, and of course, beside me posing a question, it's open to all of us. I like to continue with coconut. There has been a lot of negative issue, a lot of propaganda on coconut. I heard since I was a child, but with my common sense, I refuse to believe. And I have been drinking at least one coconut a day for the last, including coconut juice, water, and including coconut meat for the last 20 years. Every day my breakfast is one coconut plus one big plate of fruits, whatever seasonal fruits. So if you can share a little more on coconut, yes.
Last time we were talking about tempeh, and today we're talking about coconut. Okay, so the fat in coconut is totally different from the animal fat. Coconut contains what we call medium chain fatty acid. Medium chain fatty acid only contains about the carbon change, maximum 14 carbons. So 60% of the fat in the coconut actually are a medium chain fatty acid with 12 carbons in the chain. And this is called lauric acid. And lauric acid can be converted directly in our body into a mechanism or metabolism directly producing calorie. So the first mistake people make is they say coconut contains cholesterol, which is not true. And after they know this reality, then they have another argument. They say, okay, we agree coconut doesn't contain cholesterol, but when you take or consume coconut, and coconut will convert it into cholesterol into our body, which is also not true. Yeah? Because the metabolism of the medium chain fatty acid, which is lauric acid, is totally different from the stearic acid. So the fat from the animal, pig, pork, beef, mutton, or any kind of meat, animal meats, actually they have a long chain fatty acid, which is called stearic acid. How long? The chains of carbon is about 18 of carbon in the chains. So this is called stearic acid. And stearic acid is a saturated fat. In our body, it's not going through the mechanism of metabolism of the lauric acid. So they will convert it into cholesterol in our liver.
So does all plant-based food contain zero cholesterol?
Of course. So very easy. All plant-based products contain zero cholesterol. And all animal products contains cholesterol.
Okay.
And all animal product doesn't contain fiber. Only plant-based products contain fiber.
Okay, very good point here. Anything you wish to add on coconut or cholesterol or fiber? Yes, coconut, yes.
Just talk about coconut. In the olden days, when we didn't have blood transfusion,
Okay.
coconut water was transfused.
Coconut water
directly.
was
Directly,
used
yes. Into
as
the
a
vein.
as a blood.
Yes, into the vein.
Huh?
Into the vein,
Okay.
just like blood. So that is the quality of coconut. And the other is, coconut is only water that you can put in the freezer and it will not freeze because it is equivalent to the serum of our blood. You can try it today, tomorrow, or day after. Yeah, you can keep it in the freezer; it will not freeze. If it freezes, then you have to call Dr. Susianto. Don't call me. I've tried, but it doesn't freeze. Okay, that is the reason why it is equivalent to our serum. Yeah, and the other is any natural food taken in a natural manner. I think it's fine. But once you start interfering with it, like coconut oil, when you start boiling it, then it becomes saturated.
So coconut water is good.
Yes.
Coconut oil is still not good. No. What is your conclusion on
It is
this?
not good when you start boiling
Okay.
and boiling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first boil, I think, is fine.
Okay.
And the coconut oil is saturated,
Okay.
and it's got a high, what point is that? Boiling point.
Okay.
So you can fry things in that oil rather than any other oil because it has got a very high boiling point. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. You like to add on coconut oil?
One important thing. I said 55 to 60% of the total fat in coconut products actually are lauric acid. And do you know lauric acid is a very important fat in the breastfeeding milk. So if you take coconut, it's just you drink the breastfeeding milk.
Okay.
So it's very important. Secondly, there are two kinds of fat. We call it saturated fat and unsaturated fat. Fortunately, lauric acid in coconut products is actually considered as a saturated fat. But this is a healthy and also good saturated fat. It's not like the stearic acid in the animal product. They are all saturated fat, but this is a very easy digested in our body. In the stomach, we can digest completely the fat of lauric acid, but not happen to the stearic acid in the animal. They will continue into our small intestine. So it's totally different. And secondly, actually like Dr. Faiti said, lauric acid is because they are saturated fat, so they have a high boiling point. So it's actually thermostable. So the unsaturated one is divided into polyunsaturated and monounsaturated. So like plant-based oil, like soy oil, corn oil, sunflower seed oil, and then even the how do you call it? The olive oil, even the canola oil, they are all unsaturated, but they still have a lower boiling point, so they are not thermostable. So if you want to cook by using the oil, still coconut oil is the most thermostable oil compared to the rest.
Okay. Once again, a big round of applause to coconut oil. we should add on coconut. Vietnam has a very long coastal line.
Yeah.
So you grow a lot of coconut.
Yeah, I eat and I'm a coconut fan. And I mean, I don't have the scientific background like the two doctors to talk, but if anyone tell you that coconut brings cholesterol or whatever, you just ask them, do you know anyone who died because of eating too much coconut?
It's a very good one, yes. Thank you.
There's no one that died because of eating too much coconut.
Very good. Now we like to move, yes.
Years ago, coconut oil was not popular in our country. But during the last, I would say almost a decade ago, there was a movement from vegetarian or vegan people who try to put significance of coconut oil consumption, so that now coconut oil has been popular, and the price, say a decade ago, coconut oil 1 kilogram cost less than 20 baht, but now increased to 50 times, 50 times, almost 1,000 baht a kilogram. Then I blame the people why you make vegan materials so expensive like this. And he answered me. He was a famous announcer from TV program. He said, this is because the production of the product is less than the demand, therefore it increased. I said, you must take responsibility of this. Make coconut oil price down to 20 baht a kilogram. Because it's good, it must be cheap too. And one conclusion, why people are so confused that coconut oil, whether it contains cholesterol or not, no cholesterol. There is a principle, very simple principle. Plant products cannot contain cholesterol purely because plant has no liver. Cholesterol can be synthesized only from hepatocytes or liver cells, and it needs 20 kinds of enzymes for this enzymatic pathway to synthesize cholesterol. And plant or like coconut or whatever has no liver, therefore there can be no cholesterol anywhere in the plant kingdom. That's the conclusion.
No, thanks to Dr. Vichai. Coconut is a star in this forum. My favorite drink, my favorite fruit. We will come back. We'll come back. We'll move to the next topic. I pick up a topic first. What you have spoken on moving away from overeating. You know, when we eat, normally the moment we realize that I should stop, we have already overeaten. You know, it's very common. It always happened to me. So what tip do you have? How should we manage?
I think eating is conscious. If we eat consciously, I think we'll be able to control our diet. If we don't eat consciously, then we overeat. But I find that overeating is across the board. Rather, obesity is across the board, including vegans, I see. The reason is because of sugar. So we need to stop sugar. That is refined sugar. That is the one that is causing obesity in children. Because every can, as what Dr. Suchanto said, about 14 to 17 spoons of sugar in every can of drink, Coca-Cola, whatever drink take. Yeah? And every food, every cake or whatever that you take, there's sugar. And sugar is not vegan in this part of the world because it is processed or rather whitened with bone char. Yeah.
Today at lunchtime, I already enjoyed the dessert,
I did not eat.
bean soup.
I am on zero sugar.
And in fact, I like it so much that bean soup. I serve myself twice. So Okay, yes. Okay. Now on the same subject, I was in Hanoi last month. It was my second trip to Hanoi. And you also did talk about obesity becoming a challenge in Vietnam. But overall, I travel across the world. I still see a lot more slim people in Vietnam. Yeah. But yes, I agree. You need to look into this because it's starting to be a problem. So would you like to talk a little more about this?
Yeah, so like what I said earlier, generally speaking, Vietnamese are still considered slim compared to some other nations. But if you just go to the end of a school day and you just stay outside the school gate, you see kids coming out. I'm really sure that you will see so many obese kids, 50% of them, and again the number is higher in boys rather than girls. And this is a matter of the fact that the kids nowadays, when they are born into the world of what? Of McDonald's, of KFC, and they don't see the traditional Vietnamese meals anymore. And their parents, they also are unaware of this. So again, this is just a matter of the nutritional transition, and the way that they are eating now is so much different than before.
I made 2 overseas trips last month. One was to Hanoi, one was to Sydney. And I find two contrasts. Of course, I'm based in Bangkok, so I would compare with Bangkok. I think Hanoi, especially I was there, is still so much behind in veganism. Still so much. I see meat everywhere, and the word vegan, the word vegetarian is almost unknown. And Sydney is much more advanced than Bangkok. That surprised me. I was there after many years, so it surprised me. Very, very advanced in Sydney. Every coffee outlet you go, they have an option for almond milk, not just soy milk, but almond milk, which is almost unknown in Thailand. Almond milk, and any outlet you go in, there is an option for vegan food. Even a simple pizza outlet, they have in their menu vegan pizza with vegan cheese. So I'm very glad that you are here with us, and of course every country has a starting point. And how many seconds or minutes do we have?
30 seconds.
3 seconds. 3 minutes or 3 seconds?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. 30 seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds. 30 seconds for the discussion. Then we'll give you the last round of 2 minutes each. Would you like to share anything for this 30 seconds? Oh, I think we have a question there. Yes.
I would like to ask Doctor, just now he mentioned about lauric acid resembles in the breast milk. Would you recommend breastfeeding mothers who couldn't breastfeed using coconut milk or
very good.
soya
Good question.
milk?
Very good question.
Because,
Yes.
they use soya milk, the brand Prosobi, it tastes horrible. So would you recommend breastfeeding mothers who couldn't breastfeed well, and they need a supplement instead of taking the normal cow's milk, would you recommend coconut milk?
Yeah, of course. This is a very good recommendation because many lactating mothers, they have a misunderstanding also. People will think that when they are pregnant, during the pregnancy, they have to add more calorie. This is true, but for the second and third trimester, not for the first one. The first 3 months pregnancy, actually we need more micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, and we only add 150 calories for the second trimester and the third semester. But many mothers, they will think after I give birth that I don't need any additional calorie, which is not true. So according to the study, it's even more additional energy for the lactating mother compared to the pregnant mother. So in this case, it's very logical and very good to recommend lactating mother not only for the lauric acid but also for increasing the calorie intake, which is very needed for a lactating mother.
So I think I've pretty much shared what I've needed to say earlier. I've talked with a few people that are working on the plant-based and vegan movement in Southeast Asia, and I can relate to them because I know that there are difficulties because the government, the people are still really unaware of the benefits of a plant-based diet. But we are the pioneers, we're the beginner in this movement, and it's difficult for us, but it also brings the challenges also make you feel more motivated to spread the message. So what I'm doing in Vietnam now, the Green Monday campaign, I can see the similarities campaign in other Southeast Asian countries, and just get more people to be involved in the movement with you, celebrities, the media, government, schools, restaurants, because you yourself cannot do everything. Myself cannot do everything. So working with more people, getting more people involved in the plant-based movement is the way to make it a massive movement for everyone, not just in Vietnam, but also in other Southeast Asian countries. That's all I want to say.
Let me round up with this summary. To become a healthy nation, every Malaysian, that is everybody, must become more civic conscious by not littering, not smoking in public, aware of his or her food, where it is coming from, how it is prepared and stored, and in other words, food safety, reporting adverse water and air pollutions, cruelty to farm animals, soil contamination through animal and agricultural farming, educating the general public on healthy lifestyle through proper and balanced plant-based diet and exercise. All this can happen if the government of the day has the will to implement what is already in the laws and regulations regarding health, environmental issues and cruelty to animals. But administrative corruption seems to hinder the efforts of the various NGOs. If I have some time, maybe today or tomorrow, I would also like to address some of the reports on mortality studies where they say vegetarians just live just as long as the meat eaters. Why is that so? That I can address it later if I have the time. Thank you.
I will conclude a very short sentence. Please support vegan movement, a plant-based diet, because plant-based diet or the vegan diet is good for our Mother Earth, for human and for our fellow animals.
A big round of applause for coconut, for moving away from overeating, and for becoming vegan to combat world hunger. Big round of applause. And I like all the speakers to remain seated while I hand over the podium back to Himanshu, please.
Thank you, Pontet. As a token of our appreciation, I would like to invite Pishu to give away 4 books as a souvenir to all the panelists, and Pontet as the moderator. This book is authored very proudly by the Consumer Association of Penang, one of the stalwart and forefront consumer activist movement in Penang. And the title is Shocking Ingredients in Your Food and Other Products. The book is available. The publishers and authors of the book will be presenting after the tea break. Okay, so hang on. So I would like to ask Pishu, please present them with the book.